When Ethan left me for Sophia again, I finally realized how utterly pointless it all was. As I walked away, he said, "Mia, go find yourself a boyfriend. I won't come looking for you anymore." I smiled and nodded. All right. He assumed I'd always wait patiently whenever he chose to return. But later, when his relationship with Sophia fell apart and he came crawling back, he found me in the apartment courtyard tangled in Ben's arms under the streetlights. The girl who once reserved gentle words only for him was now whispering to another man, "Don't be jealous, Ben. I stopped caring about him ages ago." During my birthday wish, Ethan zoned out for the third time that evening. He kept unlocking and locking his phone obsessively until a notification finally lit up the screen. The tension in his brows melted away. While everyone sang happy birthday, Ethan abruptly left the room. The cheerful melody died mid-chord. "Are you okay?" my friend whispered, squeezing my hand. I forced a smile. What could possibly be wrong? After years of this routine, I'd grown numb to the humiliation. The whispers started before the cake knife touched frosting. "Sophia's back in town, saw her airport post. Bet Ethan picked her up. Obviously. Everyone knows she's his priority. Shoo. Mia might hear. So what? Stand-ins should know their place when the real deal returns." The door swung open as the murmurs crescendoed. Ethan reappeared with Sophia flanking him. Both draped in matching black cashmere coats, the picture-perfect couple with their model heights and magazine cover looks. The room erupted in choruses of Ethan and Sophia. While I lingered near the dessert table, "Mia." His voice sliced through the chatter. Every head swiveled toward me. The current girlfriend in name only. Sophia glared at our joined hands before yanking hers free. Ethan sighed with that familiar exasperated fondness, murmuring something that made her laugh. Only then did he approach me. "We need to talk." I met his gaze. "Can it wait until after the cake?" "Mia." The warning tone I knew too well. "All right." I set down the serving knife. "You know Sophia's always had my heart." He frowned like I was the unreasonable one. "Besides, you're just not my type. This whole relationship feels forced." "Breaking up then? Find someone else." He nodded briskly. "I won't bother you again." Not the first time I'd heard those words. Not the first time he'd forgotten they lose potency with repetition. In the past, whenever he said things like that, I would stubbornly shake my head. But this time, I smiled and nodded. "All right." Ethan frowned slightly, seemingly wanting to say more. But Sophia had already lost patience. "Ethan, are we done here? How long does it take to break up?" He fell silent, turned and left with his arm around Sophia. My fists clenched until my nails dug deep into my palms. Yet I felt no pain. Against my better judgment, I lifted my gaze to watch his retreating figure. Each step carried resolute finality. I counted 11 steps before he exited the room, 11 steps that somehow drained all lingering attachment from my heart. The gathering dispersed after Ethan's departure. I cut a slice from the birthday cake but left it untouched, opting instead to empty a wine bottle. When I stumbled outside clutching my coat, fireworks bloomed in the distance. The explosions illuminated Ethan embracing Sophia against the night sky. Radiant and laughing, she tilted her face up to meet his kiss pressed tenderly to her forehead. Today was my birthday. Yet these fireworks celebrated someone else's romance. A drunken man lurched toward me as I walked. "Hey sweetheart. Wanna party?" I shoved weakly against his grip, panic rising. I knew nobody here except Ethan. But seeking help from him now? Before I could decide, the man yanked my wrist, alcohol fumes thick as his other hand grabbed for my waist. Then I saw him, Ben, in a charcoal overcoat, cigarette glowing between his fingers as he spoke on the phone. The embers flicker highlighted his sculpted profile, breathtaking yet impassive. "Dr. Carter," I cried out. Those frost-colored eyes shifted toward me, devoid of warmth or concern. Yet after momentary hesitation, he extinguished his cigarette and approached. The drunkards retreated at the sight of his commanding presence. My legs buckled the instant they released me. Ben steadied me with clinical detachment. Stand properly. Despite my efforts, I swayed dangerously until his arm reluctantly shot out again. Where's Ethan? Shouldn't he be with you? We broke up. He seemed to chuckle, though maybe I misheard. Don't you two break up every other week? I lowered my gaze, staring at my toes. That bitter ache spread from my chest to my throat. When I spoke again, my voice sounded hoarse. It's real this time. No getting back together. Benjamin Carter showed no interest in my words. Glancing at his watch, he said coldly, "Can you get home alone? My stomach hurts. Your ulcer just healed. You shouldn't drink." But it's my birthday today. I looked up at him with red-rimmed eyes. Dr. Carter. I drank because I'm upset. He remained silent, though his gaze softened noticeably. I'll take you home. I don't want to go back. His eyes darkened. What do you want then? Dr. Carter. Tell me. It's my birthday. I don't want to be alone. After several seconds, Benjamin finally spoke. Get in the car. I'm not going home. He gripped the steering wheel, sparing me a glance. I know. Truthfully, we started kissing in the underground garage. He'd leaned over to undo my seatbelt, his aquiline nose brushing against my hair. Dr. Carter, my alcohol-slowed brain made me stare instead of pulling away. Benjamin didn't retreat either. His gaze grew heated, making my mouth go dry. I can't recall who initiated it, but when I regained awareness, his hand cradled my head as he deepened the kiss. Ethan and I had broken up multiple times during our year-long on-off relationship. We'd held hands, shared brief pecks, but without real affection behind them. Benjamin kissed completely differently, deep, relentless, until I gasped for air. In the dim car, he pressed his forehead to mine. Mia, close your eyes when we kiss. Why? He captured my lips again. Because that look makes it impossible to wait till we're home. This kiss felt languid and intoxicating. A soft moan escaped me as my fingers tangled in his thick black hair. Ben, slow down. We've got all night. I refused to remain the pathetic backup plan anymore. No more being at someone's beck and call. Letting go of someone you truly loved feels like carving out your own heart. That's why I'm burning every bridge tonight. After this, Ethan and I will be finished for good. Perhaps these years have been too suffocating. So when I finally let loose with alcohol, I indulged in the biggest rebellion possible. Benjamin Carter brought me back to the bedroom. As he stood by the bed unbuttoning his shirt, he suddenly paused and leaned over me. Mia Peterson. If you're having second thoughts now, I hooked my arms around his neck. Dr. Carter. Do surgeons ever consider retreating at the critical moment? Benjamin didn't respond, but his obsidian eyes ignited with smoldering intensity. Pinning my wrists above my head, he kissed me with deep, relentless hunger. Most surgeons possess skilled, powerful hands, and Benjamin was undoubtedly exceptional among them. When I floated to cloud 9, an absurd thought crossed my mind: those hands could probably catch the most elusive fish bare-handed. Why else would they be so devastatingly precise at capturing my little mermaid? Mia, scorching kisses trailed down as Benjamin nibbled my earlobe. His voice gravel rough. Say my name. Mia. I whimpered faintly. Benjamin, Benjamin, I can't. His lips descended like summer rain against mine. Good girl. It's all yours. Late into the night, winter's first drizzle soaked the terrace blossoms. Indoors, spring's fervor bloomed anew amidst tangled sheets. Yet post-climax brought complicated afterthoughts. Fighting nicotine cravings, Benjamin held an unlit cigarette between his fingers. never anticipating that Mia Peterson and Ethan's 3-year turbulent relationship had remained unconsummated. I awoke to mid-morning sunlight. Benjamin, enjoying his day off, had breakfast ready. Emerging from the bathroom, I hesitated before asking at the dining table, Dr. Carter, could I take a photo? 10 minutes earlier, a busybody had sent me a screenshot Ethan's social media post from last night, Through Every Storm. It's still you beneath fireworks illuminating his clasped hands with Sophia. When someone mentioned me in comments, he'd replied, don't bring her up, it upsets Sophia. Of what? Benjamin placed buttered toast on my plate. The hands that wielded scalpels daily now handle cutlery with the same elegant precision. My cheeks burned remembering last night's exploits. How could this composed, unapproachable surgeon transform into such an insatiable beast between sheets? Worse still, those shameless whispers during our most intimate moments. I cleared my throat. Your hands. I want to photograph them. Benjamin extended his palm without comment. After snapping the picture, I ventured, may I post this? He peeled a hard-boiled egg with clinical exactness. I'm unattached. What? Meeting my gaze, he offered the perfect oval, do as you please. My social media update read, food tastes better when served by beautiful hands. The photo posted was of Benjamin Carter's hands, those impossibly perfect hands that seemed designed to infuriate both gods and mortals. Within seconds, Mia's phone exploded with notifications. In Ethan Clark's group chat with his usual troublemaker crew, someone had already screenshotted Mia's post. Real or photoshopped? Gotta admit, those hands are legit fire. Who knew Mia had game? Bet she grabbed some stock photo to mess with Ethan. Ethan, pathetic. What's your take? Could be real. Mia's cute enough with that soft girl next door vibe. Ethan, she wouldn't dare. Even clay dolls crack eventually. Didn't Nate say the same thing before? Ryan, true. Nathan, would it bother you if she's actually dating someone? Ethan, told you, she's all bark. Right. If she hooks up with another guy, she's off the bench for good. Ethan, tell her to quit the games. She's no Sophia Harris. I don't play these teenage drama games. After sending the last message, Ethan tossed his phone aside and lit a cigarette. Such transparent tactics. Mia. How naive do you think I am? Mia's inbox flooded with thinly veiled questions about the post. She skimmed through them without replying. That afternoon, Benjamin had an emergency surgery. Rest here. I'll pick you up for dinner, he said, grabbing his car keys. Mia followed him to the door. I need to stop by the restaurant. He paused mid-lace tying. Urgent? Ethan left some things there. His assistant should collect them. Let's go, Benjamin said evenly. Ben. Nothing ever happened between us, the words escaped before Mia could stop herself. Why explain? He'd probably brought her home on a whim anyway. I know. His gaze softened unexpectedly. I'll come get you after my shift. He dropped Mia at her private kitchen, the cozy space where she'd foolishly kept a dedicated room for Ethan. He'd hosted poker nights here. Even crashed occasionally. They'd kissed. Fumbled with buttons. Nearly crossed lines once when he was drunk. Until she heard him slur Sophia's name. Bodies don't lie. Mia started boxing up Ethan's whiskey glasses. Physical reactions never lie. Perhaps it was in that moment I finally woke up from this messy, unbearable love. Ethan didn't love me, not even the slightest fondness existed. I packed all his belongings meticulously before calling his assistant. Mr. Wilson. Could you find time to come retrieve Mr. Clark's things? Miss Mia. Please hold for a moment. Of course. Minutes later, Dan called back. Miss Mia. Mr. Clark insists the items remain where they are. He wishes to maintain friendship and continue supporting your business. That won't be necessary. I smiled. Please collect them to avoid complications. But Miss Mia, I'll wait at the boutique. If you don't come, I'll mail them over. I hung up abruptly. Dan hesitated. Mr. Clark. What should I? Ethan's expression darkened. For 3 years. She'd never acted this way, first posting that absurd social media update. Now purging his possessions as if serious. Yet he knew Mia best. This love-struck girl would never fancy another man. These theatrics reeked of jealous scheming, clumsy attempts to regain his attention. Previously too naive for games. She'd clearly taken bad advice. Amusing. Really. Her transparent ploys only highlighted why he'd favored her docile nature. Retrieve everything, he snapped. And inform her I'll no longer visit that shop. When Dan arrived, he relayed the message. Unsurprised. I nodded. With Sophia returning permanently, their engagement was inevitable. Though insignificant to Ethan, my ex-girlfriend title warranted clean breaks. Please also thank Mr. Clark for his patronage over the years. Miss Mia. He didn't truly mean Mr. Wilson. I've errands at the farmer's market. My smile dismissed him. Watching the chauffeur load suitcases. Dan phoned Ethan later. Where should we deliver these? Sir? What did she say? Only gratitude for past business. Nothing else. Silence crackled through the line. Ethan Clark didn't respond. A few seconds later, the call abruptly disconnected. On the 3rd day, the restaurant received a reservation for 2 private rooms for a gathering. At 6 in the evening, Ben came to find Mia at the shop after work. He wore a gray overcoat. Still tall and handsome with striking features. Unlike that night. However, the cold detachment in his expression had softened considerably. His gaze held a quiet warmth when looking at Mia. Things might get hectic tonight. I'm afraid I won't have time to tend to you. That's all right. I'll wait for you in the room. What would you like to eat? I can just have the staff meal with you. Absolutely not. It's your first time visiting. After some thought, Mia instructed the kitchen to prepare light congee and side dishes. There's a dedicated lounge here. Let me take you there first, the food will be brought over shortly. But Ben didn't follow. Leaning against the bar, he simply watched Mia with calm indifference. Confused, Mia asked, "What's wrong?" He chuckled softly. "I don't go into other people's rooms." It took Mia a moment to grasp his implication. Don't overthink it. The previous room has been converted into a private dining area. This lounge is where I entertain friends. The smile at the corner of his lips deepened. Fair enough. Before he could say more, a cold male voice cut through behind them. Excuse me. Instinctively, Mia pulled Ben aside. There stood Ethan and Sophia. Ethan's icy gaze swept past Mia before freezing on her hand clutching Ben's sleeve. Sophia raised a challenging eyebrow. Long time no see. Mia. Mia nodded silently. Ethan withdrew his stare, guiding Sophia inward without another glance her way. Only after they disappeared did Ben interlace his fingers with Mia's. Walk me there. Mia. I don't know the way. Mia let him lead her to the private room. As she turned to leave, she added, Rest here for now. If things slow down later, I'll join you for dinner. But Ben gripped her wrist, pulling her flush against him. The kitchen has chefs and servers. You don't need to micromanage. Ben. His mouth crashed onto hers. The same overwhelming intensity as that night, making her knees weaken. We can't, not without protection, she pushed frantically at his chest. He lifted her onto the table. His transformation into someone unrecognizably reckless making her wonder if she'd imagined his earlier gentleness. Mia. He growled against her lips, deftly untucking his shirt. I want you right here. His tall frame settled between her thighs as he kissed her deeply. You asked me to stay with you that night. Tonight. You're staying with me. But without a condom. I could, then we'll have the baby. Have you lost your mind? Slowly unbuckling his belt, he pinned her wrists above her. Pretend I have. Outside the window, the sky darkened to match the storm in his eyes. The wind howled in my ears. I tried to suppress a sound, biting my fingertip until Ben forcefully pulled my hand away, gripping it tightly in his palm. His lips traced my neck as he murmured, "Mia, don't hold back. They'll hear. Let them." His thrusts intensified with those words, drawing fragmented gasps from me. Through the window, the glittering banquet hall pulsed with silhouettes and clinking glasses. Ethan was somewhere in that crowd. How absurd, yet exhilarating. I clung to Ben desperately. "Ben, kiss me." He obliged, sealing our lips until my neck burned with fresh marks. Rushing toward the kitchen later, Ethan's cigarette-roughened voice stopped me cold. "Was that the guy from your social media posts?" He stood framed by icy gusts. Handsome face hardened. When I instinctively shook my head, he scoffed. "Using some man to make me jealous? You're becoming pathetic. Mia." His cigarette-stained fingers brushed my cheek. I turned away. "Ethan." I sighed, equal parts amused and weary. "I'm not that petty." He'd never believe I'd moved on while he still arrogantly assumed I'd remain his devoted shadow, not knowing I'd already shared intimacies with another man that we'd never approached. Why shouldn't I? No one's irreplaceable. Ethan crushed his cigarette, towering over me with disbelief. "Suit yourself." I walked away without glancing back. He never returned to my boutique afterward. Yet Ben and I remained suspended in this undefined intimacy, growing closer yet never crossing into commitment. 2 weeks later, Ryan and Nate found Ethan drowning his sorrows at the club after another explosive fight with Sophia. Oddly, during Sophia's hysterical accusations, Ethan found himself remembering me. How I never raged or made scenes, even when he'd repeatedly chosen her. Only ever asking softly, "Are you certain about this, Ethan?" He'd grin, thumb brushing my blush-stained cheeks. "Certain I want you, Mia." And I'd melt every damn time. If he leaned down to kiss her again, she'd be too shy to even glance his way. Ethan suddenly felt an inexplicable irritation boiling in his chest. Setting down his whiskey glass, he frowned and pulled out his phone. 15 days had passed since their encounter at the boutique. Yet Mia hadn't reached out, no calls, no texts. It was as though she'd vanished completely from his world. Ryan settled onto the couch across from him. Drinking alone? Ethan remained silent. Ryan poured himself a drink, sprawling lazily against the cushions. News had recently surfaced about Emily's pregnancy. Alexander was practically floating with joy. Ryan couldn't quite name the bitter tang in his own throat. He wanted her happiness, yet resented that it wasn't by his hand. "Ethan," Ryan pressed, "do you really feel nothing for Mia? She's plain and dull. Why would I? You claim indifference, yet she's been your only girlfriend besides Sophia these past 3 years." Ethan refilled his glass. "That was just to provoke Sophia. Don't make the same mistakes Nate and I did." Ryan's tone sharpened. "Sometimes we're blind to what's right before us." Nate chuckled, clinking glasses with Ryan. "He'll deny it till reality slaps him. Typical stubbornness." Ethan sneered. "I'm nothing like you two. My distaste for Mia's genuine. Why else would I never touch her in 3 years?" The door swung open abruptly. "Ethan, guess who I just saw?" His fingers tightened around the tumbler. "Who?" "Mia. Downstairs." Ethan's grip relaxed. He set the glass aside with practiced nonchalance. "So?" Even he didn't recognize the sudden lightness in his voice, the subtle shift in posture from brooding to alert anticipation. Ryan and Nate exchanged knowing glances. "I asked if she came for you, but she denied it." The newcomer continued. Ethan smirked. "Let her be. Should I invite her up?" Don't. If Mia wanted him, she'd approach herself. Yet anticipation hummed beneath his skin. If she swallowed her pride now, he might even grant her a smile. Her resolve had lasted barely 2 weeks. After all, he summoned others for poker, but his attention kept drifting toward the door. Misfired plays piled up as silence stretched. A friend noticed his restlessness and chuckled. "You guys keep playing. I'm stepping out for a smoke." Moments later, he returned with an odd expression. "Just saw Mia downstairs again, sitting alone and claiming she's waiting for someone." Ethan Clark tossed his cards aside, lighting a cigarette as he checked his watch. "It's already fucking 10 p.m. Who the hell would she be waiting for? Beats me." I invited her up but she refused. Kept insisting she's expecting someone. "Spoiling her rotten," Ethan muttered, suddenly finding his cigarette tasteless. He stubbed it out decisively. "Need some air." I checked my phone. 10 p.m. Benjamin Carter's surgery would likely run late. He'd originally planned to introduce me to friends tonight before getting emergency call to the hospital. Our 8:30 p.m. dinner plans had dissolved into radio silence. Though I understood a doctor's responsibilities, the familiar sting of disappointment lingered. Years of last-minute cancellations never seemed to build immunity. "Mia." The familiar voice froze my spine momentarily before I turned. Ethan sauntered over, eyebrow arched. "What brings you here?" "Meeting friends. They got delayed." He barked a humorless laugh. "You realize you're terrible at lying?" The misunderstanding clicked. He assumed I'd come looking for him. Pointless to explain. I offered a placid smile. "Heading out now." "Wait." His voice hardened. "There's limits to how many chances you get. It's not what you think. My friend got called into emergency surgery." "That physician from your social media posts?" His smirk turned icy. "Since when do you know doctors?" "Met him when I was sick." I held his gaze. "The night I called about unbearable stomach pain. You hung up." Color drained from his face. "You were actually. Thought I was jealous of Sophia again?" My smile felt brittle. "Ancient history. I'm fine now." To my surprise, he didn't protest as I left. Clean breaks hurt less anyway. Benjamin Carter finished his surgery around 11. I had just returned to my shop when he called. "Mia. I'm driving over to see you now." "Ben. You just finished surgery. You should rest." I broke our promise. "I need to apologize in person." "Ben," I whispered his name softly. I'd always been clear-eyed about my place. For over 2 weeks, we'd maintained this intimate relationship. Yet he'd never given me a single promise. I knew better than to delude myself. Ben was only chasing temporary novelty. He couldn't possibly care for me. Just like how Ethan and I had been on and off for 3 years. I'd always understood my status. In his eyes, I was never truly his girlfriend. Their circle overflowed with old money elites and prodigies. I was ordinary, decent enough at keeping peace. Skilled in the kitchen, running my little shop with modest financial freedom. Ethan had always loved girls like Sophia. Those dazzling socialites. Ben's type would never be someone like me either. Back in college, he'd been the legendary campus prince, perpetually paired with that breathtaking English department beauty in Campus Gossip. They only split because she wanted to stay abroad while Ben insisted on returning to practice medicine. Since then, he'd remained single. I'd seen that senior twice during university. She outshone even the most famous actresses. Only that kind of woman could make someone like Ben remain devoted years later. "Mia? What's wrong?" Ben's voice sounded hoarse with exhaustion, yet softened tenderly when saying my name. My eyes stung. I almost cried, but caught myself. That drunken night, I'd stayed sober enough to know it was just a fleeting affair. "Ben, let's stop seeing each other." Silence stretched through the phone. When he finally spoke, his tone remained steady. We'll discuss this face to face. There's no need. I'm already driving. 30 minutes. Ben. Stay at your shop. It's too late to wander around. The call disconnected. Anxiety tangled through me like overgrown weeds. What could we possibly say? Those 30 minutes dragged endlessly yet vanished in a blink. His call came again. Mia. I'm outside. I considered refusing to meet. Some things I can accept in my own mind. But hearing him say them aloud is entirely different. Sometimes I truly wish I could bury my head in the sand like an ostrich. Yet the winter in the city was bitterly cold. The howling wind audible through the phone receiver. In the end, I went to see him. I'm sorry about breaking our plans tonight. I'm not angry. You're a doctor, it's your calling. I understand. Then why did you say we shouldn't see each other anymore? What happened that night was just an accident. Ben. I wouldn't cling to you because of that. I know you don't have feelings for me. So you think I'm the type to casually bring women home? No. That's not what I meant, I rushed to explain. When you posted that social media update the next morning, I thought you were announcing our relationship. He paused. Guess I misunderstood. Ben? My eyes widened in surprise. So you don't have feelings for me? Is that right? Mia? Did Ethan contact you again? Is that why? You still can't forget him. Can you? That post was just to make him jealous. Ben's tone remained calm throughout, devoid of any emotional inflection. Yet somehow, an absurd thought surfaced. It almost sounded like he was jealous. Jealous of Ethan. But I'd never considered that possibility. Besides, on my birthday night, I'd already let go completely. I didn't love Ethan anymore. Ben removed his glasses, rubbing the bridge of his nose. Exhaustion lined his face, hours of surgery followed by driving straight here. Red veins webbed his eyes. His white coat still draped over his shoulders. Here he stood before me in the freezing wind, saying these things. Even someone as oblivious as me could sense he wasn't entirely indifferent. But why would someone like him care? I'm just an ordinary girl. Mia. His gaze met mine, the faint redness around his eyes making him look uncharacteristically vulnerable. You can't do this. You can't walk away after everything. You can't just abandon what we started. I didn't. You said we shouldn't meet again. Ben. I just didn't want you to feel obligated because of that night. So you don't have feelings for Ethan anymore? That post wasn't about him? I almost laughed. But tears pricked my eyes instead. The night deepened around us as he positioned himself against the wind, shielding me. When I looked up, my reflection filled his pupils. Nothing else existed in that moment but us. Why him? Maybe it traced back to that desperate night years ago when I'd curled up with crippling stomach pain, certain I was dying. His warm hand had reached for me then. And when I saw him again recently, some instinct whispered he'd save me once more. He stepped closer, extending his hand toward mine for the second time. Perhaps I shouldn't let this slip away again. Even if the affection is faint, it's still better than never having loved you at all. Ben. Stop being jealous already. I haven't liked him for ages. Before my words fully trailed off, Ben cupped my face and kissed me deeply. Ethan didn't know why he came looking for Mia. Maybe it was the explosive fight with Sophia that drained him completely, sparking thoughts of ending things. Perhaps the doctor Mia mentioned had stirred uneasy feelings. Whatever the reason, he found himself driving to Mia's boutique in the dead of night. No one came for her. She'd been lying all along. There was no friends gathering. She'd gone looking for him. She wanted to reconcile. This time, more than ever before, he desperately wished to reunite with her. But just as he moved toward Mia's place, a car pulled up outside her shop. When Ben stepped out, Ethan's heart suddenly stopped beating. He'd always assumed this doctor must be some ordinary guy. How remarkable could someone interested in plain Mia be? Never had he imagined it would be the man he'd seen at Mia's shop that day. He'd noticed him then, but arrogantly dismissed the possibility that such a man could want Mia. Yet why shouldn't she be desired? Wasn't he himself here in the middle of the night? Over the years, Mia had become part of him. That's why her final rejection felt so wrong. So unbearable. As Ryan said, those involved often remain blind. He'd always believed he didn't love Mia, that she'd forever wait for him. Every past experience confirmed this notion, fueling his complacency. Until now, watching Mia and Ben kiss passionately. Seeing Ben follow Mia home. Watching their lights stay on until finally extinguishing. In the sudden darkness, Ethan heard something shatter within him. His phone kept ringing and vibrating relentlessly, as though the caller wouldn't stop until he answered. Staring at Sophia's name flashing on the screen, he chuckled bitterly before accepting the call. Sophia. Sophia. Where are you? They said you saw Mia tonight. You went to her. Didn't you? I knew you've been lying about not loving her. All sweet talk to deceive me. If you want her, why come back to me? Why reconcile? If we're back together, why still pine for her? What am I to you? Listen, Ethan. I'm not Mia. I won't be bullied or wait around like some lovesick fool. You're right. Ethan cut in, silencing Sophia's sobs. You're not her. You wouldn't wait endlessly. So now you finally admit the truth? Ethan, panic tinged Sophia's voice. 3 years without dating? Ethan scoffed. You remained single after every breakup. Waiting for me? What gives you the right to judge? Didn't you immediately run to Mia after leaving me each time? Why is it acceptable for you to rebound instantly while I can't? But I never hid it. Sophia. I rebounded openly and told you upfront every time. You. However. Who claimed she hadn't dated anyone else for 3 years? Who started the deception? You truly pale in comparison to Mia. At least she loves wholeheartedly. I'm no better. Fickle. Indecisive. Greedy. And selfish Sophia. We're both terrible people. You're really into Mia, aren't you? Sophia's voice trembled. You've liked her all along, haven't you? Every time you reconciled with her after our fights. You were thrilled, weren't you? Ethan gripped his phone, stunned by how transparent his actions had been. The pattern was undeniable after each argument with Sophia. He'd rush to Mia without hesitation, sometimes not even waiting through the night. Part of him had secretly anticipated these conflicts, viewing them as excuses to return to Mia's arms, to keep her anchored in his life. Only with her presence did his emptiness subside. Yet on Mia's birthday, when their quarrel hadn't escalated to breaking point, he'd stayed. The next day came her fateful social media post. Though furious, he'd pretended indifference, dismissing it as jealousy-fueled dramatics. Then Mia called Dan to collect his belongings. Panic had flickered momentarily, but arrogance prevailed. He refused to believe she'd truly leave, even plotting childish schemes to teach her a lesson. Those fatal miscalculations destroyed any chance of reconciliation. Listening to Sophia's muffled sobs in the car, Ethan massaged his temples. Let's stop this. Soph. What do you mean? Staring into darkness, he finally murmured, We're done. No more. My modest bedroom felt cramped with Ben's tall frame occupying the bed. Yet he stubbornly refused the guest room. Relenting, I gathered blankets for the couch. Absolutely not. Ben protested sleepily, pulling me back. Drowsy memories surfaced. Ben, why were you so distant before? Even after our first night together. His cautious warmth never suggested deeper feelings. Because you kept cycling through Ethan. He tightened his embrace. I had to maintain boundaries. That night you fell ill and Ethan ignored you. I thought you'd finally leave him. You didn't. Ben's kiss held unexpected gravity. Mia. I was furious then. Why didn't you value yourself more? His breath warmed my hair. I nearly walked away that time. It's kind of pathetic, isn't it? My birthday's coming up. And I just don't want to spend it alone. My father passed away when I was little. Then Mom left me during college. Opening this private kitchen was my way of honoring Dad's legacy. He was an incredible cook who left me secret family recipes. After Mom's passing, I used their savings to start this place. People without family tend to crave warmth desperately. Birthdays make that longing worse, you just want someone there. Never imagined this birthday would turn out like that. Yet through the chaos, I met Benjamin Carter. Thank God I ran into you that night. Benjamin didn't reply, just tightened his embrace around me. There's no such thing as coincidence. Only someone deliberately closing the distance through silent effort. Benjamin hated how she let people walk over her. But mostly his heart ached for her. That midnight years ago when she cried alone on her mother's death anniversary, she'd never know how heartbreaking she looked. The next day, watching her laugh with classmates while putting on a brave face, adorable yet equally heartbreaking. That Christmas Eve when she blushingly handed him an apple with her juniors, he'd felt that shameful flutter. But his study abroad papers were already signed. And she'd just turned 19. He told himself to wait, let her grow up. Let him return from overseas. So he stayed silent. The apple she gave remained the only holiday gift he ever kept. Preserved until necessity forced him to discard it. He never expected her to pour 3 years of devotion into Ethan Clark after he left. Witnessing her turbulent relationship with Ethan made him keep his distance, terrified she'd notice his feelings and withdraw completely. Until her birthday night. It's my birthday. I don't want to be alone. Somehow he brought her home. Now she slept trustingly in his arms. Benjamin pressed the lightest kiss to her forehead. He vowed silently never again would she shed a single tear in this lifetime.